Well, let's talk about Maron, shall we? Listen, some people will accuse me of living off the toe, but I talk a lot about Marc Maron as well. I can't get enough of this guy.
He can't get enough of himself either.
he's going everywhere, and he has a script that he has rehearsed, and he makes sure to get to it. And this is a little older, the Howie Mandel thing, and I was gonna skip it. Like it was, I think I saw it the same week we talked about Maron on Bad Friends. So I was like, all right, we have enough Maron clips, whatever. But the reason I want to address it now is because a guy he talks about, Jeff Dye, was on Legion of Skanks, and they addressed this topic a little bit. We might have to go back and forth here if that's
you want to start with
that, Craig.
You want to start with Legion of Skanks?
No, we'll start with Maron. But
Okay.
we're gonna if we can play the Howie Mandel clip, then go to Skanks, then go back to Howie Mandel.
Okay.
But this is so Maron has been on this. He's going around the country, and he's going, hey, if anyone wants to listen to me, I'd like to bash Joe Rogan in the Austin comedy scene, if you wouldn't mind. And a lot of people have been like, yeah, Marc, come on in. And everywhere he's gone, he's talked about how they've ruined not just comedy, society. Like Joe Rogan is the reason that society has crumbled right before us. And Maron's telling anyone that'll listen. So then Howie Mandel says, you have a few beefs these days, huh, Marc? It seems like you're always getting into something. You know, you've got an acid tongue. You're always going at people. And Marc's answer is great, given the run that he's been on.
You get into. There's been like controversy between you and other comics, right?
Not too much. I mean, there was like recently. I don't find that that's true, but there was a guy that was talking shit about me for a while, and it was brought to my attention. I really didn't know who he was, and it was really his problem. But it's like, he's publicly, talking shit, and and he recently got passed over the store, and I had to, just say, you can be all right, or is what do we? Yeah, I work here, so are you okay?
Can I say his name? Or
Jeff Dye.
Jeff Dye.
Yeah, I mean, and
you didn't even know who he was.
I didn't. I really didn't. But it was like, when you talk shit, and we all do it to a certain degree, and that's another thing about podcasts and why it's saturated, is that, you hear these stories now, all of a sudden, like, there are the clickbait world feeds on little tidbits of garbage. And, after a certain point, people have been around a while, they'll just start throwing dead people under the bus. I was on set with Olivier once and he fucked a dog. And you're like, wait, what? And then all of a sudden that becomes news. And it's like,
Marc,
that cult.
You've been talking about Rogan and Tony Hinchcliffe and all these guys. He's like, can you believe these people are talking shit about each other? It's crazy what's going on out there.
Culture of that is nothing but destructive. So when someone's talking shit and they continue to do it, and you're alive, it behooves you to, instead of engage in a public way, to go, would you want to resolve this, or you just want to keep talking shit?
Yeah. Well, next question. Will you ever talk to Rogan? No. Why would I? that was truly amazing to me that Howie Mandel asks him, you have you got a lot of beefs with people, and he's like, Jeff Dye, I guess. I can't really think of anyone. Throws Jeff Dye under the bus for no reason. So if we can go to the Legion of Skanks clips, Jeff Dye was on Legion of Skanks this week, and they brought this up. And his response is funny because I didn't know a lot about this feud, but I guess Jeff Dye was on a podcast a long time ago saying, like, yeah, Maron was kind of a dick to me. And he explains here.
So hold on, what's going on? So Marc Maron's been doing a podcast tour right now.
Oh yeah, Marc Maron's talking shit.
Yeah, he's talking shit about a lot of people. A lot of people in the Rogan sphere. He doesn't like, apparently. Just at first it was
Soder on his
specifically
podcast. He didn't
Jeff.
like him when he started.
Wait, he said he didn't like Soder when he started?
He was like, when I met you, I didn't like you at all. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Why? Everyone likes Dan Soder.
Who doesn't like Dan Soder? The only knock on Dan Soder is that everyone likes him.
Yeah, he's too likable.
He's a good guy.
Yeah,
Soder.
pisses me off.
Yeah. So yeah, he went on to a bunch of different podcasts. But did you have a specific beef with him?
Who exactly is Marc Maron again?
Oh, there we go.
That's the game he played with me. He had no idea who I was.
Yeah.
That's the guy with the great stamps.com bit, right?
That's him. Same guy.
That's supposed to get some good laughs. No, it was nothing. He was just mean, and then I talked about it on a podcast, and then he was like, I don't know who that is. And then it got like blown out of proportion. And then everyone was like, oh, did Jeff Dye get in his feelings? Did he get his feelings hurt? I was like, yes, that was the whole point.
Yeah.
Yes, my feelings were hurt. I was
So
like,
how was he mean to you? What did he?
I was just an open micer, and he was really rude to all of us.
Okay.
And I was trying to make the point that like,
Now, how long ago was this?
2006 or something.
Okay, so nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But as a professional comedian now, if you ever go to an open mic, don't you almost kind of get it now?
Oh, for sure.
Don't you sort of want to be mean to them?
Well, no, I don't even care. Like, I would literally brought it up because I was like, he always talks about how, like, I met, like, Jimmy Page, and he was a fucking asshole to me. And I'm like, yeah,
Right,
that's how you treat all the young Like, I was just making, like, a correlation between the two. Yeah. And somehow it's, like, boiled up into, like, I heard you and Marc Maron are going to fight. I was like, no, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
But if you did fight him.
Oh, I dominated
Domination.
It is wild to watch Maron on this run of just trashing everyone that he hates in comedy. And his podcast, by the way, for the last 15 years, has been him having people on that he has conflicts with to work them out because he's rude to everyone. And then he had the gall to say to Howie Mandel, he's like, what's terrible is this negativity and people doing it online. That's what you built your career. The only reason we know your name is because you've been negative to everyone, and everyone has a Marc Maron story about what an asshole he was. And to Maron's credit, he'll have them on and laugh about it. So I don't understand what this new thing is now that he's done with his podcast. He's a guy who's really, like we talked about with Patton Oswalt. That's where I draw the line. Like to me, that's the delineation between those two guys. Is Patton can have conversations with all of these people and sometimes be like, I was a little douchey, or I actually disagree with these people in this circle. Maron builds hatred and then refuses to talk to anyone about it. Like he spouts off about Rogan and all these other people, and then they're like, would you ever do the podcast? He's like, no, why would I? Like, because you pretend to be preaching this like togetherness, like just have a conversation with someone and fix it, you know? Like it was supposedly that easy with Jeff Dye. And then Jeff Dye was talking about like, no, I was a young guy and I was hurt. Like he was honest.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, my feelings were hurt because Maron was a respected comic who was kind of a dick to me. He wasn't going on this media tour that Maron is scheduled to talk shit about these people. I haven't heard Maron promote his special once. I've listened to all these interviews. I don't hear him talk about his special. If he brings up his special, he's like, yeah, you know, I tried to not do some negativity at the beginning before I bashed Theo Vaughn, you know? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, man. But the Skanks guys continue, I think, right?
So next Skanks clip.
Yeah.
He was really nice about it. I let it go. And then, like, a week later, it's like he forgot that we made up. He was like, this guy's been talking shit. I was like, I wasn't talking shit.
Oh, he went on a podcast again.
Yeah, on Howie Mandel's. And he was like,
that's what I saw.
He's a bit of a twat. I've heard him.
It's just a little strange. I don't care at all. Marc, live your fucking life.
I heard him say, Howie Mandel, I thought actually was handling what he was saying good, because he was just like, and Marc's one of those things, almost like that Hannah Gatsby personality thing, where it's like, if you're not using comedy to do it this way, the way that I do it, then you shouldn't be doing comedy. It's just like a stupid kind of fucking like take on it, especially getting like, not throw a dig, I think Marc's a great comic.
Sure.
But I mean, like this, I've only seen the trailer for the HBO thing, and it's just like, I mean, I've even heard that like exact take he did. He's like something about like, if my brain, you know, if I stop thinking for a minute, my brain goes, hey, want me to open the worry folder? It's just a concept I've just heard 1,000 times. So it's like, maybe he does something great with it. I'm not even arguing that, but it's like, he's just too vocal. To be vocal about other people's like shit like that, like the way they do it, I'm like, who gives a fuck?
I also kind of feel like
if they kill, they fucking kill. It doesn't matter. The audience is the only thing that matters, unfortunately.
I'm also the guy who's
Also, by the way,
trying
like,
to make
I
all the
think
comics,
Jay's
like,
making
get along.
I think Jay's making a great point too, where like Maron is shitting on this stuff, but like his comedy is not so. He's not Bo Burnham. He's not some revolutionary guy. Like he's following in the footsteps of Carlin, kind of like he's like there are people who have done Maron's model before, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not this holy shit. You should see what he's doing. This is the only way to do comedy. Like there's some dumb, silly jokes. There's stories, and again, I like Maron as a comic for the most part. I'm not a huge fan, but like I don't dislike him. But like for him to be like, this is the only way to do comedy, is to be this enlightened guy. Like you have to be enlightened, but you also have to be enlightened and think what I think.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he's preaching this thing where you should be talking about politics, or you should be society and how these things impact you, but don't think differently than me. You can't. You have to think what I think and do that kind of comedy. It's the silliest way to go through life because, as I often say about guys like Maron, like for such a progressive guy, it's amazing how closed-minded he is. And that he will generalize. And he's like, oh, the comedy mothership is just full of transphobes, and all they do is say the F slur there. Have you ever been, Marc? No, I'd never go. Okay, well, it's a little closed-minded.
I'm going to let this clip run out. I think someone's at my door, so I'm going to let this play, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Kill. It doesn't matter. The audience is the only thing that matters, unfortunately.
I'm also the guy
It's not even
trying to make all the comics like get along, but there's these things pop up where everyone's like, you were talking shit. I was like, no, Kevin Brennan was talking shit about you. And why would I defend your honor? You were rude to me, like really to my face. So I was just letting Kevin riff, and I'm not going to go, hey, don't talk about Marc like that. Like, that's not how things work. You're a dickhead to me. So I just let Kevin riff.
Yeah. Oh, is that what he was upset about?
Yeah, because Kevin said something about how his wife deserved to die or something.
Jesus Christ.
You know how Kevin is, you know?
He goes hard. In the
Kevin doesn't hold any punches
That
back.
was aggressive.
But was it up to me to defend Marc's honor?
No, not at all.
Like, am I supposed to go, oh, wait, you know that guy that's really grumpy and mean to everyone?
Wait a minute.
I don't think we should say that.
Kevin's hilarious. I didn't realize
Oh,
this.
no, that's pretty good. It was pretty good.
Well, we'll talk more about Kevin in a moment. They keep talking about Kevin Brennan, but like it's the perfect point that like why is Jeff Dye supposed to jump in on this shit talking when that is all Maron does? It's crazy that he's so fixated. The last time we talked about this beef, we touched on it briefly because Maron was on with Bert Kreischer. I don't know if Craig is back, but remember when we had that. Who was at the door?
Maintenance.
Okay. I thought this was the test show for me. I didn't realize we were testing Craig's facilities.
I ran up the stairs and back pretty quick.
I was very good. I was impressed. No, but so like, I don't know if you remember, we talked about that Maron Kreischer beef.
Yep.
Where Maron was like, no, I wasn't talking about, everyone thought I was talking about you. I was shitting about on Chappelle.
Yeah.
In that whatever you want, confrontation. He goes, yeah, the only guy I really don't like in comedy is this Jeff Dye guy. He said it that was like 6 months ago. It's crazy. He keeps bringing up Jeff Dye, but like as like his one beef. Jeff Dye's openly admitting he's like, I was on a show where someone else was talking shit about you, so I threw out a story where I was like, I was young and he was a little rude to me. And Maron uses that as this defense because I think he's ultimately like kind of afraid of like real confrontation, because he does have these guys on. Like we've talked, and I give him a lot of credit for having Dane Cook on or Gallagher or these people he doesn't respect that he shit on. But it's never the same attitude, which granted is difficult. Like when I talked to Tom Myers, it wasn't the same tone that I was using in the Tom Myers episode we did, you know?
Right.
So like I do get that, but Maron's talking about them ruining society.
Well, they are.
And that it's like, well, if you believe that, you should confront these, stop them, do something instead of talking to Bobby Lee about it. Like, I don't get it.
Which one next?
I think there's one more Skanks clip, right? What's the Skanks clip next?
There's two more Skanks and one more Howie.
Oh, what's it titled? Is what I'm asking.
Just Jeff.
Yeah, so let's hear that. This is the funny part where they kind of realized, like, of all Maron's beefs, why does he keep bringing up Jeff Dye?
I asked Anthony Jeselnik to do Story Wars out in L.A., and he was like, and I was like, hey, man, it'd be good to see you. He's like, hey, good to hear from you. No.
Yeah, that's great. I also want to preface this video, if we're going to show this video. All Howie asked was that you've had controversy with comedian or with other comics. Right. And Marc has somehow forgot that he's had controversies with 1 million comedians and immediately goes to, nah, just Jeff Dye. How's that possible?
Wait, I mean,
WTF was started because he had such a terrible reputation.
Showdowns with Louis C.K.,
John Stewart,
Bill
Joe
Burr.
Why is my name coming up?
Bill Burr? Fucking Gallagher.
Talk about punching down. Like this
Still one
guy
of my
literally didn't even know my name till a month ago.
I know.
Dude, that is so funny. It's so funny that I've watched this. I never even thought of that angle on it, which is such a good point.
Yo.
That he literally, his point
If
that he
he
goes
didn't
on
know
to
my name-
was about punching down. And they go, have you ever had beef with a comedian? He goes, can't think of anyone except Jeff Dye.
That's insane.
That's insane.
It actually is a great point that Jeff makes, because that is one of Maron's one of his campaign points that he's been talking about at every rally he has around the country, where he's like, oh yeah, at the mothership they punch down. These trans people are afraid to leave their homes, and they're the victims of all this comedy, which is a crazy way to look at jokes, by the way, for a comedian. Like they're the victims of this. It actually means they're in with the rest of us. Like everyone gets made fun of if they're part of that club. Welcome to society. But
I still don't even quite understand where this hate comes from.
meaning what? Like the idea that like society hates trans people?
No, I don't get why Maron hates this guy.
Oh right, I have no fucking idea with that. But to Jeff's point, like Maron's going around preaching about punching down, and then he's like, "Yeah, this guy fucking less famous than me. He's the only loser in comedy. Everyone else I like, more or less." So let's go back to Howie Mandel. Don't forget that last clip. I want to get to Redbar and Kevin Brennan that they talk about. But let's go back to Howie Mandel's show for a second, because Howie Mandel does a pretty good job. I gotta say, I've seen people online goofing on Howie Mandel. I'm a big Howie Mandel guy, I think.
So I think I get what it is. Like a lot of times he jokes awkwardly, and it's not like awkward, like, oh, I can't believe you said that. It's like that was just not funny. But the interview on the whole is very good.
Yes. Yeah. No, Howie did a great job of pushing back on Maron a little bit.
Your opinion, I've also been seeing, not about crowd work, but I've been seeing like Jeselnik having an issue with people like Tony Hinchcliffe, who he's saying uses profanity or just shock value comedy. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, at this point, it's lazy and sloppy and hackneyed. You know, to be in a fucking club where, you know, I'm walking down the hall at the comedy club, at the Comedy Store, and, you know, in one room, someone's doing their bit about trans people, and then I get down the hall and there's someone on stage going, well, I guess I got to do my bit about trans people. Like, no, you don't. You don't. It's hack now. I mean, you know, you guys got the freedom you wanted. You can now say whatever you want. They're defeated. Their rights have been denied. The policies that you guys encouraged with your stupid material are now policy. And now, like, you know, half the people under the
I don't follow politics. What's the policy he's talking about?
On trans people?
Yeah.
There isn't any.
Have we decreed they can't exist?
No.
Get rid of them. I don't know what policy he's talking about.
I mean, like, there's been proposals and stuff, but nothing's gone through.
Yeah, I genuinely, and I'm not saying like, I'm not purposely being ignorant towards it. I don't know what he's talking about when he says there's policy against them. I don't know what he's referring to, other than you can't give a kid puberty blockers or something.
That's typically what they're talking about, which I think is fucking stupid.
I don't think Maron would think, like, the little I know of Marc Maron, I don't think he would advocate for 4-year-olds to get puberty blockers or whatever the fuck.
I don't think so, but you never know, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely don't know what fucking policies he's talking about.
Well, a lot of times these arguments turn into, this is everything in this basket. So if you defend this basket, you have to defend everything that's in this basket.
Right. And this feels like a dated thing. Maybe Craig deals with it more in the politics world. But like, to me, this feels very dated, where they're like, oh, they've ruined the lives of trans people. I'm like, I thought we stopped saying that like 6 years ago.
Yeah, when everyone was like, oh, it actually doesn't matter. It's just not going to be government funded surgery anymore.
Yeah, it feels like an old argument that he's taking up here, but we'll let him continue.
Woke, we've lost a tremendous amount of democratic leaning ideas and movements. So whether they knew it or not, that's what they were spearheading. So now it's reality, and you want to still keep kicking them? Go ahead.
I don't know that the comedians have had that much power.
Are you fucking out of your mind?
No, I'm being serious.
Joe Ray. I'm not going to.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
He's like, damn it, wrong one. Nope. There we go. he's like, I've just said Rogan's name too many times. Let me hear that again. He wants to say Rogan so badly, and he stops himself.
Know that comedians have had that much power.
Are you fucking out of your mind?
No, I'm being serious.
Joe Rogan. I'm not gonna.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, you can't separate. Like, if the movement is like, you know, we're being censored. No, you're not. You're not. There's no constitutional.
Well, Marc, they were. Now he's about to get into something where he's like, it's not against the Constitution. He's correct. We'll table that for now. What people like Marc are ignoring, and I think like we just talked about Patton, I think he ignores it a little too. And a lot of these people are like, hey, that's what happens. Audiences are going to get offended. It wasn't audiences getting offended. It was people rallying online, groups of people who didn't see the joke or didn't watch the show or weren't bothered by it. It was people who would never be affected that were getting a group together and, you know, boycotting networks and sending threats and all this sort of stuff. Like with Chappelle, the idea was not that we were like, oh, his jokes stink. And we were like, hey, stop it. You don't say his jokes stink. It's freedom of speech. That's not what happened. What happened is there was a swarm of people outside of Netflix's studios demanding it be taken down.
Right.
Demanding that the content not exist anymore. Now you can say like, oh, well, hey, there's freedom of consequences. If you say offensive, there's freedom of speech, but not freedom of whatever the fuck the saying is. The consequence should not be that Netflix is like, hey, Dave Chappelle, we want an hour of comedy from you. And Dave Chappelle says, here's an hour of comedy. Would you like this one? And they say, yes, please. We'll put it on. And then when people who don't watch the special are like, take it down, then Netflix is pressured like, oh, no, we got to take it down. Like, that's not the natural consequence. The consequence would be if Dave Chappelle's audience says, hey, he's a little lazy now, and he wears a C on his chest. And I don't think there are nearly as many jokes as there were in Killing Them Softly. That's the consequence of that kind of comedy. Like the audience can react to it however they want. But what Maron's ignoring is what was actually happening in society. Now, Grant, I don't think that happens as much. I think things got so crazy and got to a tipping point where it cooled off. And, you know, we saw the consequences of that. But like I said, the reason I use Shane Gillis as the example all the time is not just because I love the man dearly. That is part of it. But it's because he is the greatest example of a guy that we almost lost because of that world. Like, if Shane Gillis got fired from SNL 2 or 3 years earlier, I don't know that we would even really know his name at this point.
Right. Hidden Hand Media says, no one even listened to Chappelle's entire story about the trans friend. It was actually a really nice story.
That's the other thing.
Because it ended in suicide, you monster.
Yes, and I should have said that with Patton too. Is like some of the jokes were lazy. Some of them were not. Like the car joke with the L's, the B's, the G's, and the T's. I think that car joke is very funny.
Yes,
and some of them were like kind of lazy. And I think you could say that about Chappelle's entire act right now, where like some of it is lazy, some of it is awe-inspiring that he's able to captivate people like that. But yes, that story about the woman Daphne, I think her name was.
Yeah,
it's an incredibly captivating story. You can argue about how funny it is or whatever, but it's an amazing story, and it's not anti-trans in the slightest.
No.
So right, to that guy's credit, like he's absolutely right. Where Maron's not even listening to what these bits are, he just doesn't like who's saying them. We point that out in the "Why You Laughing" thing. Ultimately, this is not even really about trans people or comedy or whatever. It's that Rogan was a handsome jock when they started comedy, and Maron didn't like that. And now Joe Rogan's worth $500 million.
Censorship issue with your free speech. You say things, and in a democratic shit show of an environment, you know, like Twitter or whatever, there's cultural pushback. And I'm not saying that it wasn't, it was pretty bad in terms of, you know, people getting canceled and stuff, and I agree that was an issue, but that's a specific issue.
Well, yes,
frame it
and
as
that's the only issue people were talking about. If you want to get into semantics and say it's actually not free speech, we got it. I think most people No. Like, there are a lot of people that confuse that or whatever. Yes, we all agree we're not being jailed, and that's terrific. Good for us as a nation that we haven't thrown people in prison for making jokes or saying dumb things. We should all be applauded for that. But you know what the issue is, Mark. You're being purposely obtuse about it by ignoring that and saying, actually, it's not free speech. You're being as fucking dickish as the people that are ranting about it being free speech too much. You know what I mean? Like, you're being purposely ignorant to it, where you're like, actually, it's not free speech. You know what we're talking about, though, man. Come on.
Speech problem was a misdirect. It wasn't. It wasn't a free speech problem. It was that people were getting cultural pushback. That is not a constitutional issue. No one was being put in jail for saying anything. That's a free speech issue. But my problem is you're going to start talking about anti-woke, and that's going to be your point of view. That's going to be your ideological, grounding for what you do. Okay, that's fine. But why does it have to be the same four fucking things? It's like they talk about the same shit. And I don't know a better definition of hack. I mean, after a certain point, it's like, what juice does the word retard really have? How much shit do you have to give trans people? What is your big problem with gay people? What's your big problem with women? It's like, what is this, the fucking 80s?
What's your big problem with podcasters you don't like?
Right. And to that, like, who are you talking about? Because he seems to be confusing. The first thing he says, like, how powerful is the word retard? So I'm thinking maybe Shane, or maybe like the Legion of Skanks guys or something.
Rogan.
But then he's like, you hate Gabe. And then I'm like, who's he talking about? Which of these, like, if you go to Skankfest, which I'm sure Maron loves, but like, I've been to Skankfest, you see I was going to say all walks of life. You see all kinds of whites there. You see gay whites and trans whites, and it's quite a mix of people. But my point is, all are welcome there. And I'm talking about the audience, but like, comedians, it literally is all Hispanic, black, gay, straight, whatever. Like, there's all types of people at an event like that. Like, if you look at Rogan's guest list, Maron's trying to make him out to be some hate monger. He has women on, he has people of color, he has gay people. Like, who is Rogan limiting? Like, who does he hate? Who is he against? Because, and if you want to say, like, Tony Hinchcliffe makes easy jokes sometimes, okay, that's fine. What's the issue with that? Other than that, he's making a lot of money, and you're jealous of that. I mean, like, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Is Tony Hinchcliffe is making a lot of money, and I don't think he's as good a comedian as me. Joe Rogan's making a lot of money. I don't think he's as smart as I am. That's what, at the end of the day, what Maron is saying.
I always hate that argument too, because it goes to like Dan Cook, Matt Rife, whatever. It's like they're selling out an arena. They're clearly tapped into a market that people enjoy. Shut the fuck up.
And Maron would have you believe that that's the downfall of society. Mm-hmm. Like, the idea that Matt Rife is selling out of an arena, that means we're all getting dumber. I got news for you. If Bo Burnham goes on tour again, look at how many tickets he's going to sell. You think that guy's dumb or hack? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, there are genuine geniuses that are very successful as well. And Marc is very successful. He's just mad that he's not an arena act at a time where all these guys are. But Marc's a music guy. Look at music. Are the greatest musicians of all time always the biggest? Are the most detailed and intricate songwriters always the biggest acts? Of course not. There's pop. There's horse shit out there. That's what happens.
It's a perfect example. He has a joke about finding like a Captain Beefheart record in one of his last specials. He's currently rocking the Zappa mustache and goatee.
Yes.
It's like,
you should want to be on the front. You should want to be one of those guys that isn't mainstream, Marc. And you're much more mainstream than a lot of the musicians you love, I'm sure.
Again, and it's so to.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, it's also weird. Like, I don't hate Burt Kreischer nearly as much as a lot of people do. I think like he's the Jimmy Buffett of comedy. Like, he's fun. If that's what you want, like, go for it.
Right.
For Marc Maron to be like, oh, I love Burt Kreischer, I think he's great.
Yeah.
The guy that, like, his gimmick is like he drinks and takes his shirt off. That's what you're saying. You're allowing that art, but you're not allowing Kill Tony or Rogan stand up or whatever. Like, why are you drawing this weird line with people you like and don't like?
And it's also a lot of times the line against Kill Tony is that they're mean to new comics. Like they fucking know what the show is and sign up for it. So shut up.
And they're mean to each other. Like the person who gets the most shit by far on that show is not any of the open micers. It's Brian Redban
or Tony.
Or Tony's called gay every week. Yeah, that's the other thing about like you want to know who's called gay the most on that show is the host.
Right.
But I'll tell you why that is because Tony and Rogan and Schultz and these other guys that Maron hates, they look at themselves as thinkers. And that's Maron's side of the street. The reason he's like, Bert Kreischer, I'm all right with, is because Bert knows who he is and doesn't come on Maron's side of the street at all. You know? Like Bert's not trying to infringe on Maron's turf. So Maron's like, okay, your version of idiocy is all right. Theirs, I won't accept because they think they're me. They think they're as smart as I am, and they're making more money than me, and I can't allow that.
Me, the problem is that language evolves. Okay, we don't use the word chink anymore. Well, maybe some of them do. You don't use the word Oriental anymore.
Wonder who he's talking about.
You don't
again.
use the word colored anymore. Is that in a democratic world, people learn to treat other people with respect, communities, and live with it. So this pushback, I don't know how you frame it as anything other than.
But I think it's an outward vocalization of the time. You know, I just went and saw Ricky Gervais at the Hollywood Bowl.
What a bore!
No, brilliant.
You loved it.
I loved it.
All right, go ahead.
Fucking brilliant.
All right.
Like, to write Ricky Gervais off as a bore, he's one of the most prolific writers in television history.
Oh my god!
Like not just The Office, but all the shows he did after Extras and Afterlife and what's the one with the little fella there? Life's Too Short. I think people liked. I haven't seen that one, but these are like praised as. Afterlife is a brilliantly written show and not just a comedy. Like it tugs at your heartstrings. Ricky Gervais is a brilliant comedy writer. Say what you want. Maybe Marc doesn't like his stand-up, and that's where he draws the line, or whatever.
He didn't like the Epstein joke when he hosted the award show. That's what it always comes back to.
It's what or it's that he views Ricky as right-wing, I guess, because he says stuff about trans people. I'm assuming. I don't even know if that's one of Ricky's things, but I'm guessing maybe he said something like that, and that's where Maron decides. Oh no! You see yourself as intellectual, and you don't agree with me. So you are not allowed to do that. Like, and by the way, Marc, like now Marc is acting like the victim. Like we aren't allowed to make our jokes anymore. On whose authority? You've gone on every podcast you wanted to be on and spouted all this stuff. Is the consequence to you that idiots like me make fun of it? Is that what you're bitching about? Like, what are you bitching about? How are you being silenced in any way? That you're afraid to go to the mothership for some reason I don't understand? That's on you. It's not on anyone else. I'm sure you'd be allowed there. Maybe not at this point, but
no, it's funny. He's like, yeah, these people shouldn't be able to talk about this or that or this or that. But Ricky Gervais fucking sucks.
Right. Yeah. Like these are the guys I want. So I want Ricky Gervais and Joe Rogan. Them I would like to not have a voice. But it's wrong. The thing they were ranting about for 10 years, you know?
Yeah. We got the Redbar.
Okay, yeah, let's do this. But I see that it's already 2. I don't even know if we're gonna have time for whatever this Coach HP thing is.
I think we can at least start it.
we got to start it. Yeah. But let's get through this first. Legion of Skanks talked about Redbar versus Kevin Brennan. I thought it was very funny. Legion of Skanks, I think, if they can teach other comedians one thing, it's how to laugh at themselves. We just listened to Marc Maron, who does not have a sense of humor about himself or about the way the current climate of comedy is. I think Legion of Skanks write the handbook on that. We saw them react to the Anthony Jeselnik stuff perfectly, and this is kind of where they go. Because Kevin Brennan's name got brought up, they get into a Kevin Brennan versus Redbar discussion, which I found very funny.
It was really his problem, but it's like, he's publicly... talking shit, and
publicly, Kevin Brennan's podcast,
and I had to.
All right, listen, for the record, Kevin Brennan's podcast is barely public.
Right.
It is so on the line of private and public.
Only me.
Now hold on, by the way, cut to Kevin Brennan.
Hold on. Big J Okerson is never allowed to get his Dabbleverse knowledge out.
And here it comes.
No, like they even trample on him there, where what he's about to say is, hey, Kevin's podcast is actually behind a paywall. He goes live and then he puts it on Patreon after. So you guys don't even know how accurate you are. Like he wants to nerd out so badly, and they're just like, whatever, Jay, come on over, buddy. I know you don't know who I am, and that's fine. but we'll let you talk about whatever you please here. Kevin Brennan, he has such a knowledge about the Dabbleverse and all this inside world that he never gets a chance to talk about.
This 2 days from now. Right, Dave. Show me the W9, Dave. Here goes Dave. Let me fight you, Dave.
Only me and Chad Zumach heard it.
I did. By the way, I think it's been, I'm not sure, but I think it's been 4 years since Kevin was talking shit to me, and I know I just brought it on again. Yeah. All right. All right, Kevin, come fight me.
It's all another year. Kevin Satan's going to beat you up, dude.
I'm going to find
That's
him.
where, so this is like, Kevin Brennan is actually, in a way, that kind of going down the road that Kevin Brennan went down, where it's like 4 years ago when he went after Dave Smith.
Hold on. You said Kevin Brennan's going down the road.
Oh, I'm sorry. Marc Maron's going down the road.
Oh, okay.
Kevin Brennan. Because like 4 years ago when Kevin Brennan was like, oh, Dave Smith's a loser, it might have gotten a reaction. Now he just does that to everyone. And we're like, oh, okay, old man. No. The guy who's debating people from CNN, he's a loser. Like Dave Smith, who's a millionaire from his work in podcasting, he sucks. But you, Kevin, you're doing masterful stuff there with Chad and Stevie Lou and whoever else is on your show. That is quality, my friend. You figured it out.
How would I punch him in his face?
Where does he make money from? Podcasts?
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's 2 more weeks of shows with Kevin on you.
I love it.
He can't understand.
But it'll be great.
He can't understand.
Yes.
It'll be funny.
please.
It's not like Redbar. It'll be funny.
Dave, you know what?
Whoa. We are Redbar fans. If I'm being completely
I'm on the
honest,
obeyment list.
We're on the obeyment list. Listen,
Nice.
I don't want to listen. We have to.
I like
obey.
that they even
It's
know
actually-
the terminology. I don't even know what the obeyment list is. I'm guessing it's a Redbar thing where they're like, we're allowed to like them. They know the inside stuff. So Jeff Dye has been a victim of Redbar.
Yeah.
Which again, that's a mentality that I have a problem with. Like the idea, like, oh, this guy made fun of me. He's not funny. It's like Redbar is objectively funny, like there's, and I appreciate because he's gone after Big J before, and Jay like totally gets it. That's why I appreciate these guys, is because they understand this game of the internet probably better than any other comics that I've seen get into the weeds with this stuff.
Contract with all of our advertisers, I have to obey. But I mean this genuinely. I think Redbar is better at that than Kevin is by far.
Oh,
I think Redbar is
Redbar's
better
a
at
way
making
better
that.
broadcaster.
He's
Kevin
better-
goes much more like he fucking hits on a personal level.
You
where
guys
it's like,
have
these
been
guys
bought by
aren't gonna
Israel,
fucking-
haven't you?
Well, listen.
Oh, yeah, Redbar doesn't like you.
Yeah, he hates me.
He hates you.
Oh, he doesn't like.
He hates
I don't
all
think
of
he
But
likes
it's okay.
any of
I don't
us.
care.
Yeah.
I watch that and laugh too. I don't
Yeah.
really give a
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
I'm a pretty nice guy.
Well, that's
It's,
what I'm saying. As a broadcaster, I think he's just like he's good at the thing he does. With that.
If you
great.
listen,
love him or hate him,
Did I watch a
I thought I could make a
25-minute
quick
video?
dig at him, but you guys are
I watched
on
a
the...
25-minute video of Redbar trashing.
we both.
That's so funny. I watched a 25-minute video of Redbar trashing Joe List the other day.
Yeah.
Cackling. Joe's
Well,
one of my
great,
best friends.
I watch it about me and laugh.
Lewis
I go, look, Redbar's
Lewis
talking
told me
about
to
my
watch
dick.
it. I watched it. I cackled. It was hilarious.
He's cheating on his wife.
I'm pretty
with
sure he's
Karen
fucking Karen Feehan.
Redbar will do 45 minutes about how my hat's too high.
Hold on, I got my.
Dude, he just throws me under the bus, and by just like he just always says I'm a friend of the show. It's fucking great.
Friend of the show.
And then people are like, oh, I mean, he likes you. I'm like, dude.
All right, so I.
Like they get it so much better. And you hear Jeff there, like trying to get them to shit on Redbar, and they're like, "Oh no, we think it's hilarious." And to lose his credit, he's like, he's shitting on my podcast partner, claiming that he's having an affair. It's like cheating on his wife, and it was just like, I found it fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So they get it, and that is a skill, the ability to kind of accept that stuff and not be sensitive to it. And I think Jay, it's weird. Jay can watch a Redbar video about himself and be like, this guy's good. And then if Matt and Shane beat him in basketball, he'll wear that. If you bring that up today, he's still upset about it.
I know.
It's a weird mentality that he has. But
Go to blindmike.net for everything Blind Mike. Look at me. I did it. Krager's did it.